Hey, hello, my friend. I pray that this finds you well from wherever and whenever you are tuning in. So, I'm just reading today's entry from a devotional that was a gift by a good friend of mine back in August. And today's entry is October 10th. Allow me to read it to you. The title is Comprehensive. God is able to make every grace overflow to you so that you may excel in every good work. 2 Corinthians 9:8. That's from the CSB version. God's salvation is comprehensive. It's not limited liability coverage. Jesus paid for our insurance in full. Dependence is our strength. He wants us to get to that place of needing Him every day. And then it ends with a question: how can you learn to depend on God for everything? I remember many years ago, I was leading an early morning prayer conference call, and I gave a brief word of exhortation at the beginning, and I said, what really is the purpose for prayer? And allow me to ask you that question. Why do you think God asks us to pray? Now, at face value, you might say it's because that's how He meets our needs. But the truth is, God does not need you to pray for Him to meet your need. Truth be told, there are many needs that He already meets apart from our prayer. There are many needs that He already meets even without us ever knowing that we need to pray for them, let alone actually taking the action of praying for them. And I want to suggest to you that God allowed us, number one, to have needs and gave us the platform, if you will, of prayer to reaching out to Him to get our needs met. Because of a call, He wants you to seek Him. He wants you, right? We are motivated more with pain than we are with gain. And when there is a need and we have the motivation to seek Him, then ultimately, whether our needs are met or not, we satisfy the deepest need that we don't even know we have: the need to connect with our Creator, the need to connect with God. Ultimately, it's not the blessing that you need, it's the blesser that you need. Ultimately, it's not the provision that you need, it's the provider that you need, because no matter how many needs God meets in your life, you will always be needy and never be fully satisfied. I remember the Samaritan woman that Jesus met at the well, and Jesus said, hey, you're asking for water, but this water, if you drink of it, you will thirst again. But I am able to give you a kind of water which by taking you will never thirst again. In other words, when we connect with God Himself, not His hand, not His blessing, but with His heart and the person of God Himself, it satisfies our hearts in a way that nothing else can. As somebody once said, I think it was Saint Augustine, he said that our hearts will always be restless until they find their rest in God. And then somebody said something in the same vein. They said that in you and in me, in each one of us, is a God-shaped vacuum that only God can fill. Ultimately, God wants you to know and connect with Him. He wants you to learn how to depend on Him every day. And in my own reflections as I close, God dropped in me this revelation. Yes, in you and in me is a God-shaped vacuum that only God can fill. But in God's heart, there is a you and a me-shaped vacuum that only you and only I can fill. Each one of us is a unique expression of God's image. And so God wants to have a relationship, yes, with all of us collectively, but with you specifically and individually. There is a U-shaped vacuum and a me-shaped vacuum in his heart that only we can feel. It's the reason he will leave the 99 ship to come for you, the one. You matter that much. So my friend, will you grow in just dependence upon the Lord, and more than anything he can give, grow in an intimate personal relationship with him for yourself? That's it, my friend. God bless. Until next time. Bye-bye.